Hi, I'm Will Cedric.
I'm Gabe.
And this is Inside the Bot. Gabe, what are you doing?
I'm back from holiday.
I thought I was going to have a nice televised fight winner to be co-hosting with me today, but it's back to you, I guess.
Oh, well, do you know what? After a few of the comments that have been coming out since I've been away, I think it's best for me to be taking back the helm, getting some steady hands again.
I think it's been nothing but positive.
And we'll move on from there.
Obviously, everything was in jest, Gabe. It's lovely to have you back.
Of course, it's lovely to have me back.
It's great to be talking to someone who I can see.
Because you've been. In fact, I've listened in as your mentor.
Well,
listening in.
You're not my mentor.
Of course, I'm your mentor.
I'm your mentor.
I guide you. You know that. That's how I guide you. I shape you.
You didn't even know what a podcast was until I found you.
I think I did.
Scrubbed you off. You're a dirty penny. I've made you all shiny.
You're a lump of clay. I've had you on my potter's wheel.
Let's not go there.
So anyway, do you know what? Whilst I was away, there was some amazing shows, and I had the chance to listen as a listener, which was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And I was really looking forward to them. And we had some great hosts, thanks to Will and to Ed, and some great guests as well.
Oh, we had some amazing guests.
And I was so...
One of them was Will as well.
Will. So Will came twice. I'm sure he
I don't know if he enjoyed it that much, but it was certainly nice having him on.
Exactly. And sorry about that, Will. No, and his rake incident was very special, which I enjoyed immensely. But we're not here to talk about what's in the past. We're here to talk about the future.
Yes.
Or what's just happened. So not the future, just the recent past. And that is Robot Wars. So, what do we do first? I've been away, so I've forgotten the scheme.
I've forgotten. Should we do the last fight first? And then we'll just work back from there.
No, don't be an idiot.
All right.
I need to shape you like I need to mentor you again.
So
don't we do news?
So what we normally
inside
do?
the shop.
We do inside the shop first.
So inside the shop, it's very exciting this week for Inside the Shop. Now, obviously, I've been away.
Yeah, how was your holiday?
It was amazing. We're not talking about my holiday. That's private stuff. What have I
But just say it was good, and then we'll move on.
It was good. Let's move on. But we've got something exciting happening this week. Sabretooth is fully prepped and ready for a weapons test tomorrow. New ESCs, new big batteries. We're hoping for the Death Hum.
The way you said it like that, it's prep for a weapons test. Sounds like you're going to put it onto a ballistic missile.
Well, it's like...
And fire it into the atmosphere.
That's what it's like. We've got a lot of tick boxes and schedules to go through, a lot of preps. You can't just plug it in. People who just plug it in blow their speed controllers up.
Yeah, well.
So, do you know what we're hoping for tomorrow? We're hoping for the Death Hum. So we're going to be recording it, and we're going to put it out as an exclusive on Inside the Bot.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, no.
Because what if you don't get the Death Hum? It's going to be very embarrassing.
It'll be quiet. I'll go... What I'll do is... I'll go... over the top. If it does, I'll do
all I hear is it chugging. And you're going, Esme, put a bit more coal in. More coal!
So anyway, that's what's going to be happening there. So that's exciting.
I'm really excited to do that.
Yep. That's going to be tomorrow. That's scheduled for tomorrow at 6:15.
I don't think you're going to eclipse Pulsar.
We aim to.
Or Hypershock.
Well, we're going to go for it.
Or Minotaur.
We're going to go for it.
I think this is going to sound like a wet fart.
Well, oh ye of little faith. That's all I can say.
Well,
we've got a pretty big brushless on there. We've got a nice heavy drum. And we've got a good spinner.
I don't sound like someone of little faith. I sound like someone who's been to see you fight with your featherweight robot.
I told you about that.
Completely disappointed.
No, that's when the fuse kept falling.
I think it's time we should talk about the fuse.
Let's not.
We've not spoken about the fuse yet, but I think it's time for the fuse.
So I did have a robot that every time it flipped something, it flipped itself over and knocked its own fuse out.
Yeah, you did.
That's just one of the things you learn not to do.
And how many of us had you invited to come and see your robot
5.
when the fuse came out?
That was amazing.
How many of us gave up our days to go and see you?
You did see a quality robot show as well, didn't you?
Well, yeah, because there were other robots aside from yours that did work.
So...
But I'm not going to say I'm not salty about the incident.
Well, you should get unsalty. I'm going to put some pepper on you.
All right. So news.
There isn't any.
There's none.
So we're going to scrap that bit. Get rid of it.
Let's get on to it.
Yeah, let's talk about the robots.
This is, of course, Robot Wars Heat B.
Yep.
8 competitors. The first 4 in the first battle are Thor, Shockwave, Tough as Nails, and Disconstructor.
Ooh. So can we go through the robots? Can I just say that you pronounced tough as nails wrong?
What did I say?
Because you said tough as nails, when it should be tough as nails.
Okay.
Because they're Dutch, and that's how they say it.
Oh, all right.
And I'm not being mean about you, tough as nails team. I love the way you say it, and it's really great to say. Could you just say your robot's name again? They go tough as nails.
You sound like Sean Connery.
Well, I do, but it's Dutch.
He's not Dutch.
He was Dutch.
All right. Then.
Tough as nails.
So we got Thor. You know what? We're not going to talk about this robot. We get old Jason Marston. Now, I always say old. I don't mean old.
He's only 45.
He's only 45.
Which is old to you, but not to me.
Old to me, but not to you. He's about your age.
No, he's not. I'm far younger. Let's get him up on the table. Come on.
Come on, Jason. Come and talk about your robot. Put that hammer down.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, Will.
How's it going?
It's good, man. Yeah, all is well in the world.
I'd like to welcome you onto the show, of course. And just talk about your original series appearances.
I have had, the very first robot I built was called Monkey Nuts, which was, I'm ashamed to say, was a flipper.
Nothing wrong with that.
And it didn't make the grade. We went to the auditions for Series 4.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Lee Cornish, my then teammate, and we didn't make the grade. And understandably, because it was, a pile of crap. So, and then my second robot was called Dorcas, which actually looked like can opener, but it was mechanical, not hydraulic. Had claws, and it had a steel saw sticking out of its bum. And that was for auditions for Series 5, and we didn't get on that either.
Okay.
So it wasn't until we went with Thor for Series 6,
Yeah.
and dressed up like idiots with Viking hats and wigs and everything else, we actually managed to get on. So yeah.
So you enjoyed your time on the original series?
It was incredible. It really was. Going to this series, obviously it was I'd say slightly better, but back then it was amazing. It really was amazing. When we got the news when we made it onto Series 6, Lee was trying to get hold of me, couldn't get hold of me, and he came rushing into my house, and I was having a shower. He came running into the bathroom while I'm in the shower, and I'm screaming like a little girl. I go, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm covered in soap. He was so excited about it. It was great fun.
So, oh man.
It's actually a mental image now, isn't it? That.
Yeah, that is quite the mental image. I'm sure our listeners are going to be enjoying that one. Anyway, so coming back to Robot Wars, where's Lee gone?
When it ended after Series 7, and obviously because it cost quite a lot of money, to build these things and a lot of time, and it just turned around and said, I just haven't got the money to carry on doing it. And we did at the time. We didn't. The live circuit wasn't very robust. There was just the odd bit going on here and there. So Lee decided to bow out at that point. I wanted to rebuild. I wanted to design something again. Upgrade Thor again. Yeah. And so he bowed out at that point, and I was on my own from there on in. The current one on Robot Wars is Mark 8.
Okay.
It's the 8th incarnation of Thor. There was an electric Thor in amongst all of that as well. Many years ago, that run on a perm motor that got very expensive as they kept burning out. And John Reed actually helped me with the gear ratios and some of the stuff on there. He's a lovely man, and he was very helpful in that.
When did you start designing this Thor for New Robot Wars? Was it specifically for New Robot Wars?
No, it wasn't. I did a live event in Dublin, and I was the Thor Mark 7 was very tired. It was 2 years old, and it'd done an awful lot of work, and it was the chassis had got fatigue, stress fractures in it, and everything else, and it needed replacing. Yeah. So at that point, you kind of start thinking, well, I can try this, I can try that. Being, an engineer and a roboteer, you're kind of always trying to push the boundaries a little bit. So come away from Dublin, and I thought, okay, we'll rebuild. So stripped out that Thor, and then got the shout that we're going to do Robot Wars again. I'm like, oh great! I've now got a big pile of bits in the garage where a robot used to be. So it wasn't planned like that, but so it was a lot of hard work, some late nights, and trying to get the machine done and ready for the show. And obviously, I did.
You're like old school man in shed building his
absolutely
his strange hammer robot that he's going to go on the telly.
Yeah, all my workings out are just scrawled all over the workbench. So there's no CAD involved. It's
Is there literally no CAD involved?
No, it's a Sharpie. And whatever surface is at hand. So.
Well, I mean, that is impressive then.
I don't know. I don't know about it. It's just the way. Just the way I've always done things. I think maybe being a builder as well. Maybe it comes from that as well.
Just got a feel for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you got Thor built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you showed up to Robot Wars.
Yeah.
How did you feel looking around at everyone else's robots and just getting there and how was the whole experience before the fights?
It was to walk into that aircraft hangar and obviously there's some familiar faces from the live circuit you see, and it's obviously great to see them get on great with everybody on the live circuit. Or at least I think I do anyway. But then I was very surprised to see people that I'd never seen before, machines that I'd never seen before, and it took me back a bit. I went in there with the preconception that all they was going to have was everybody off the live circuit, and I was wrong. And it was nice to see. It was nice to see brand new machines. It's nice to see some new ideas, meet new people. Dave Moulds, obviously, I know him anyway, but it was nice to see his machine.
I mean, that couldn't exist on the live circuit.
No, absolutely not. And done a cracking job. Him and Sam Smith. It's a stunning machine. And the sound of the thing. Oh, do you test that? I haven't got a spinner. I hope to have a spinner soon. But how do you test that at home? I test Thor out on the driveway and stand well back. But how do you test something that's spinning around at a tip speed of 200 miles an hour? I mean,
I think with difficulty is the answer. And with clenched buttocks.
From a long way away.
It's just, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, as for walking in, it was a jaw-dropping moment to see the arena. The arena is stunning, by far the best arena I've ever seen, and had the privilege of driving in. And it was a privilege to drive in it because it was because Thor's so fast as well. Just to be able to accelerate across there, it's like, this is, it was brilliant to get it up to full speed across the arena. Awesome. I've only managed that in an old factory once. Yeah.
So the speed of Thor actually it's worth mentioning. It's got to be one of the quickest robots out there. What's the philosophy behind that? Where did you come up with the plan to have this bonkers fast robot?
I've always tried to with all the robots that I've built, whether it be Thor or other machines that I've worked on with other people or built for other people, is I always work on the premise that the drive is at least 50% of the robot. If you can still be driving at the end of the fight, you are in with a chance. And if you can boss people around with that drive, if you can just bulldoze them around and just boss them in that arena, you don't even need a weapon to a degree.
Well, I think this episode showed that.
So it's just not, and it gives me great satisfaction to just ram into something and then just shove them, 20 miles an hour across the arena into the sidewall, and then just hold them there and then beat the living daylights out of them. It's immensely satisfying. So the drive-wise, I always try and build a very robust, fast, powerful, and accurate drive. So plus, being 45, my reaction time isn't quite as quick as it would be for the younger guys. So I have to have a gyro. I'll put a gyroscopic in Thor, and just to dampen down the steering a little bit and it gives me time to react. So
is that so it doesn't kind of tip when you go round corners? Or?
It just dampens the steering down a little bit. It just doesn't make it quite as twitchy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all it does. But I can't. I've tried to drive a gyro, and many of the people on the live circuit take the mick out of me for having it. It's like having stabilisers on a push bike, I guess. And I just can't do it. For some reason I can't. I can't drive an invertible robot either. When it turns upside down, I'm
Oh yeah, I think that would mess with my head.
Yeah, I'm lost. I'm all at sea. So yeah.
I have to say though, Jonathan Pierce was loving your gyro.
He did like that. Yeah. I know he picked me up quite a lot. I was quite impressed with that, and the commentary was good. It was all in my favour. I was pleased, and the feedback I've had has been brilliant. It's been really good.
Perfect.
Excellent. That was great to hear about that.
Yeah, what a history.
Yeah, I didn't know there's been so many Thors, and that's an amazing amount of Thors to happen.
And what a quality robot with a hammer.
Amazing.
A beast.
It can get. It can't get. No, it's not that blacksmith. I take that back. It can't get as furious.
Stop mentioning blacksmith.
I love blacksmith. It can't get furious like blacksmith, but there you go. It still gets a little bit.
I think it can get pretty furious.
No,
we see that later in the show though. And how about that shower story?
What?
In the story of him and Lee in the shower.
Oh, that was dirty, wasn't it? He loves it getting all soapy.
Maybe that's why Lee's not invited back.
Oh, that's exactly the reason, because he maybe saw too much.
Or too little.
Or he dropped soap.
He's always looking for more.
That's it, isn't
Think
it?
about it.
He just saw too much and was then always hungry. for that sort of time again. And when you're staying in doing Robot Wars, you have to stay in the same room. So
yeah, it happens a lot.
Too much. What? How does it happen a lot?
Well, I share a house with some people.
Oh, you do?
One of them walked in on me.
Saw
me getting changed, and ever since he's just always trying to open that door.
You're right.
Well, I have to be very careful.
I suppose you've either got it, you're over manly, or you're not.
It's a problem I have.
Okay, well, we got off subject now. I want to do the next robot. Shockwave. Very simple robot, 4-wheel drive, entirely made of hardox. Very similar look in its layout to Tornado, which was an old school Robot Wars robot. Obviously, this one's got the articulated shovel on it.
I'm not really a fan of that.
What, of the shovel?
I want a big weapon.
Like, it is a big weapon, but it's a big wedge.
But yeah, it's not really.
So.
It's not a crowd puller.
No, but I mean, it's handy. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
But we've had this discussion before, and Greg was talked about wedges and things like that, and it's.
And Greg Munson, BattleBot's co-creator, for anyone who's just listened to the Robot Wars.
Yeah.
podcast.
So, now some people don't like wedges, some people hate wedges, some people love wedges, but they're not great on TV. That's the thing for wedges. They don't, and people always get a bit disappointed if a wedge wins.
Yeah.
They always think like a cheap win. They say it's a bit sort of easy.
Because it's like you've only really had to concentrate on building a well-armoured robot.
Yes, you haven't really done much else. But remember, we're just doing Shockwave a bit of a disservice in that it does have the articulated shovel that goes all the way around.
Yeah.
Actually designed and built off of a robot, I believe, that was originally built for Techno Games, which is from 2004.
Okay.
So, obviously all new body, but there's another body for that same robot. The wheels all fit, the drivetrain fits too, that it was from Techno Games.
It's just a solid looking robot, I'd say.
Yep.
You're not going to just destroy it, but...
Definitely not.
It could do it being a bit more exciting to me.
Yeah, okay.
Certainly. Tough as nails. I don't know what's going on here.
What do you mean? Tough as nails? Tan. It's called tan. Tough as nails. From what country? Different country?
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Very flat country.
Yeah. That is true.
What else do they do there?
They've got windmills.
They've got a lot of flowers.
They've got windmills. You would have thought he'd go with a spinner.
Oh, that's racist.
Because I mean,
surely. Get it? Tough as nails, right? Tough as nails is what? What do you mean you don't get it? Tell me about what don't you get?
I don't know. So it's just a gripper essentially.
It grips. So so the idea of Tough as Nails is that it's. And it's a robot from Robot Wars original series. But I think what's happened is it's not the same robot. The same concept is there, but this one here is a a totally new robot. It was the first robot, I think, to use Hardox as a metal. It says 1.2 tons, but that's at the ram. So by the time you got to the tips, you're not getting that out of it.
Which means it's not a crusher.
It's certainly not a crusher. It would crush a lettuce, or maybe
very handy if you're making salad.
Yeah, or it might crush a wooden box, but very thin wood. So, but the idea of Tough as Nails is that it grips, it grabs, and then it drives you into the pit.
So Tough as Nails really has to have a very strong drive on it to be effective.
It's got to have a good drive on it, which it does. Okay. And it should, in the past, it's grab the robot, and at live shows, grab the robots, put them in the pit.
But I would think Jason's robot Thor would be the big test of its drive, because he's got some beastly motors in there.
He has, but I think they lacked traction. In fact, lots of robots were lacking traction at Robots this series because of the metal floor. So I don't believe, and once you're here, especially if you come from the Netherlands, you can't really change your tyres, can you? So you're going to go, oh dear, we're not getting much traction out of that. So that's probably the problem with it. But I like it. It's a fairly decent robot.
Yeah. From one decent robot onto one that didn't look that impressive to me, Disc Constructor.
So what's really strange about Disc Constructor, if you're listening, you're just up the road from us. Literally round the corner.
Red Hill, nice.
Yeah, Red Hill. This robot here is a robot that this is a classic old school robot from like 2002.
Has it been in someone's shed since 2002?
I'm not sure, because I can't remember if it's old or if it's new. And
that was your one bit of homework. I
know. I can't.
I said, make sure you sound.
I think it's an old robot. It's got lead acid battery.
What?
Don't laugh at those batteries. I'm sure they're functional.
Are they off the shelf? Double A's.
So it's anyway. It's but it has got 6mm of grade 5 titanium armour, apparently. The disc doesn't look held on very well, to be honest.
No, it looks like it's going to fall off. I think those coat hangers I can see on there.
They might be coat hangers.
So Disc Constructor, it's not the most impressive looking machine.
Not at all. Hey Jason, could you tell us about this fight?
That fight was by far one of the most nerve-wracking fights I've ever done in my life. Not only have you got cameras there, and nobody wants to go out in the first round. I mean, sure, it's nice to be there, but nobody wants to go out in the first round. It doesn't matter what they say. And I absolutely didn't want to go out. I had a little game plan, and it was always going for Tan. I know Will quite well, and he is an incredible driver. So I'd always got one eye on Will. I didn't even see Disc Constructor. There's no disrespect to them. I was so busy concentrating on Tan, and it wasn't going my way in at all at the beginning of the fight. And I was getting extremely worried that I'm going to get third place here, because I see Disc Constructor drop in the pit. The reason I wanted to go for Tan was when we was in the pits and I was looking at him, I see his battery box was in the middle of the claws at the pivot point, just behind it.
Oh yeah, kind of where you ended up hitting.
That's absolutely, and that's what I was aiming for every time. And I thought, if I can get to that, I thought I could get to that quite happily, and smash his batteries to pieces. That was my big idea. As it happens, it just knocked his link out. But I will take that. That's fine. But when he went up the wall, I pushed him up the wall. I had the stick full forward all of the time there. You can't see it because the wheels are covered on Thor. But I probably lost 20mm of tread off the tyres just holding him up that wall, because I thought, as soon as I started hitting him, I thought, you ain't going anywhere, son. Not now.
And Shockwave is just trying to get in on the action. It seems.
Yeah, it was just annoying. It's just like, will you go away? You're just getting in your way now. Go away. It's almost like you're through. Just go and sit in the corner, right? Just let me do.
Well, he's got to show something though to make sure he gets in, because you and Tough as Nails have been having a bit of a ding dong.
I know
the whole round really.
As soon as he came, he slid back down that wall, Tough as Nails, and I could see he was not driving. Oh, that was a relief. That was happy days. Yeah. And then it was a race to get him in the pit, because I could see Will trying to get him in the pit. And I thought, no, I'm having this one, son. I'm getting him in the pit. So that was the end of that fight.
So Jason, he's pretty pleased with that fight, I think.
And I could see that he was annoyed with Shockwave getting in the way all the time. You've done your bit, now bugger off. Get
exactly. You're all right. You took out Disconstructor. I've got to get some points.
I need to make a name for myself. So anyway, there you go.
And he got him up on the end, and he didn't really care how he immobilised him, did he? But in the end, he knocked out their what's it called? The kill switch or
the removable link?
The removable link.
Which you take that out, then it doesn't work anymore. Then he's knackered.
Nailed it.
And
because he used a hammer, it's tough as nails. It works so well.
It's got everything, hasn't it? It was terrible. Terrible.
Right. And the winners, Thor and Shockwave.
Yeah.
I didn't think. It's a shame. I think that we didn't see Disconstructor's disc.
To be honest, I never expected anything from it.
I would have loved to see if it could actually spin up.
No, I didn't expect anything from it.
And if it did spin up, whether it would stay on or would come off.
In fact, I'll tell you what, Disconstructor, why don't we have a secret garage fight?
No.
What? No?
We're not having those again.
Why not?
You ruined them all last time.
Oh, sorry, I know, you're right. It's like Fight Club, but...
And we can't talk about it.
Of course, that's the first rule. Sorry.
So Battle 2, we've got Draven.
Oh yes, Draven.
So little biter on the
So Draven has got a hydraulic crusher rather than little biter. It's quite a powerful hydraulic crusher.
And what's the lever of that though?
What do you mean?
Does it go either side?
No, the actual beak shuts down. So it'll shut down. But as I remember, Draven from Robot Wars, it can then open its entire beak up in the air.
Oh, okay.
So it can grab you and then lift the whole head in the air and carry you around complete control style.
Okay. Complete control as a battle bot.
Exactly. So now Draven goes down and comes up, but it's got Kevlar armour.
Kevlar composite armour.
Yeah, Kevlar composite armour. And their chassis is very thin. Even though they say it's titanium underneath, I've seen it. It's very thin and it's held together with a lot of threaded bar. Now, I did send them a message about Kevlar armour that it doesn't really work. And they said to me on the internet, I said,
oh yeah,
I said before,
you're on that, are you?
Oh, yes, I've discovered the internet.
Okay.
I said to them, hey,
you'll have to teach me about that later.
Watch Kevlar armour because it can shatter and it's not great for armour.
Oh yeah.
And they said, a Formula 1 car's made of Kevlar, so they're strong. And then I said, well, I was going to message back and say, yeah, but...
You should have just measured him a video of a Formula 1 car crashing.
Yeah.
They shatter a lot.
They explode into pieces.
If you're trying to create a crash zone to
crumple zone,
to look after a little man inside,
you're golden. But we're not doing that.
No, we're trying to destroy other people's robots and take big hits ourselves in the process.
So, there you go. That's Draven.
Change your armour.
I think make your robot a bit smaller, to be honest. It's a little bit big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Speed Squared.
Actually, I was talking to someone just this morning actually about Draven. Just I want to go back to it quickly.
Okay.
We can't really work out where the weight is. Where's the weight? And I think they've got a hydraulic ram in there that must weigh 25 kilos. And I'm sure you can find a smaller one, Draven, to reduce your weight. But there you go.
They just need to reevaluate
Mr. Speed Squared. Yes, indeed. Redistribute it. Mr. Speed Squared.
Now, people were a bit excited about this because they posted videos of it spinning up and stuff, and it looks like it's going to actually be a beast.
No, but why do you think that?
People were excited. I know people were excited.
Right, but
I wasn't personally. I thought it looked a bit
ropey.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what?
Together with sticky tape.
So it did look a bit. It looked. This one again, Mr. Speed Squared, looks like a robot built. And this team used to be in old school Robot Wars, and they had a flipper robot with a full body spinner. Now they've got a full ring spinner. But it just looks like. It's been sort of loads of bits have been shoved into a big thing.
I wrote down exposed bits because there's just so many exposed bits. Like the bearings of if you hit a bearing, I mean that's going to fuck it. Surely
it's going to shatter. Yeah,
and destroy it.
And I like the way they took a sheet of aluminium.
Yeah,
I tell you, if you've ever iced a cake, you roll out your icing. You put it on the top, and then it doesn't obviously go properly around. You have to roll it or cut it. So what they've done is they put a sheet of metal over the top and gone, oh crap, right, it doesn't really go on into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut loads of bits, hammer them down, and then weld them in.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggled with the time they had to build a robot.
No.
Because it just looks, a lot of robots just look a bit unfinished.
So when I was at Robot Wars, I actually looked into the top of Mr. Speed Squared to have a little look at it and see what was inside it. And I was hugely surprised to see a massive brushless motor in there. Mm-hmm. It's got a 150cc Rotamax Turnigy brushless motor. That's a big motor. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that it didn't spin up as well as it ought to. And I think they're losing a lot of power somewhere, or they're not got an efficient drive to the actual ring spinner.
A new robot though, and I think if they iterate on that design, it could become something decent.
Yeah. So I would say to those guys is, don't change your concept. Keep your concept because I like it, but let's work on that disc. Let's work on all those bits. You know, that disc needs to be hardened steel. It needs to be thicker. It could be amazing, but work up that design.
The DNA is strong, but it needs to evolve.
Exactly. Yeah.
Foxic. Now this is one that's it's done the rounds, hasn't it? It's been on live circuit. And stuff.
Yeah, Foxic's done a lot of live circuits. Obviously, a little fox, incredibly armoured. This thing, that fox, even though you can see how small it is, weighs the same as the other robots. So it's just covered in plates of metal.
It is just a block of metal with a motor.
It's a brick, yeah. So, but with a nice fox head, and remember what you do with robots that are could be boring.
You put a face on it.
Put a face on it, and even better, make it into a fox. What? You're getting furious there. I can see. What?
It's not really got a weapon.
It has got a weapon.
It's not really.
When that works. Now, you remember, and the first thing you saw, it did have the head lifts up much higher, doesn't it? It bangs down, and then he obviously had to change it because it's broken.
Yeah.
So
he couldn't fit it back on
because the chassis is bent. And I'm just going to have a little thing. If you want to know, team, why this is my theory, why the chassis is bent on Foxic, go on YouTube and put in Foxic Ac Robo Games. Yeah? So Foxic Ac Robo Games, and you'll see his chassis take a powerful pounding from Last Rites.
I just googled Foxic Last Rites.
Foxic Last Rites. You'll see that robot, probably about 3 or 4 months before, gets a proper pasting in America. So that's why its chassis is bent. And that's not from them, that's my own theory.
Yeah. And there was...
I'm happy to strike it from the record if it's wrong.
In this fight, there was another couple of tyres that were featured in Chimera.
Chimera, old school robot from Robot Wars. Repainted, repurposed.
I'll be honest, I was concerned from the start.
This was always... we talked about fodder.
Yes.
This is fodder. It's been put in as fodder.
Yes.
Because... there's just no way. It just looks. It's made of. It says it's made of gas pipe. No, it's not gas pipe. Gas canister. So they've taken a gas canister,
put wheels over
and chopped it up. But a gas canister is really not strong. It's not a strong metal.
No.
It's not. It's cast metal, and it can be very brittle. So not a great material to use.
Not the best.
Not the best.
The fight itself. This wasn't the best fight I've seen.
Oh, this fight.
Speed Squared destroys Chimera first.
So Speed Squared spins up and actually comes out of the gate, and you think, oh, actually, he's pretty handy.
I was pretty excited about Speed Squared.
He's doing some damage, and he rips off a wheel, or partially rips a wheel off Chimera, doesn't he? And he certainly tears through the rubber tyre. I thought the rubber tyre would be a bit stronger than that, but...
Really?
Well, no, rubber's quite, it just probably was a poor quality tyre. We've talked about tyres before, and this is someone definitely using a second-hand tyre. If that had been a brand new tyre, I think it would have been more springy. That's a tyre that's been left behind the back of the shed and buffed up last minute. So, new tyres, team, next time, or better still,
just no tyres.
Don't use them.
Yes.
So he loses, Speed Square comes, he whips off, goes, and then he bounces off him, and then he...
Chimera is savaged.
Yeah, definitely.
And then... Draven is savaged.
Draven took a... Draven wasn't a savage.
I wouldn't say savage, brutalised.
Brutalised, but he took a powerful bash, didn't he?
It's a powerful bash to his right
side. At this point, I'd just like to point out that Foxick is just driving into the wall
Foxick's got
and
some
knocking
issues.
its head.
He's got some issues.
Donk. Doing absolutely...
You know, stay out of trouble in a four-way.
No, he was so lucky here. He was lucky. He's hiding in the corner because he just bashing its head like a child.
No, I'm all for staying out. If you're in a four-way, stay out of the way. Don't get entangled in.
So Mr. Sweetsped does all the work, takes out 2 robots, and that's pretty much it.
And Foxick's there also.
Because it's still managing to just pootle about a bit.
So after this, we kind of see the bearings on Mr. Speed Squared are ruined.
Yeah, because they're not very robust. They're not very strong.
Well, the bearings ruined.
Yeah.
And Foxick's got drive issues, I think.
Yep. And Foxick at this point takes off the long head, bangy hammerhead and switches it round and puts the head on the other end so it can lift up in the air.
So he's ruined himself. And the two that got through,
to be honest, I'll tell you who took out Foxick. Last rights.
All right. So by rights, last rights should be through.
Yeah, Ray Billings. He would have kicked some butt in this one, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Ray, where are you when we need you? He can reach out from afar. Help us, Ray.
Head-to-head one. Let's round up who's through.
Okay, who's through?
Thor. Fair enough. Mr. Speed Squared. Fair enough. Did some damage. Shockwave. Fair enough. He survived the fight.
Yeah.
And Foxick is also there.
Yeah.
So Thor and Mr. Speed Squared had their first head-to-head.
Yep.
Shall we hear what Jason thought of it?
Excellent.
Jason, come on.
I was in the green room. They did the pre-fight interviews. I went into the green room to get a cup of tea, and they have a TV in the green room, and they're showing the interviews. And then they interviewed Mr. Speed Squared while I was making my tea, and they really talked me down. I was like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But they didn't put it on the TV. So yeah, they cut that out. But they was trash talking me something terrible, and I was like, oh man, enough. So when I managed to get hold of them and I sunk the hammer straight through that aluminium lid, I was like, oh yes.
So we saw some fury from Jason.
A little bit, yeah. See a little bit of red, yeah.
Controlled fury. So your first head-to-head was Mr. Speed Squared.
Yep.
And they'd been trash talking you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you were all over him. You didn't let him spin up.
No.
Was that was your plan? Had you seen any of the matches like Terahertz?
I did. I see Terahertz. See John driving. I mean, some of the best driving I've ever seen was that Terahertz carbide fight. John was epic.
I'd say yours was very reminiscent of that.
Thank you. If I'll take that any day of the week. Yeah. John's a good driver, and he drove his socks off against carbide and just didn't let him alone. And that's the only way, really, I guess, to deal with a spinner is just to get on it as quick as you can and stop that weapon storing energy before it dumps it all on your chassis. So I missed him on the first pass, and I can remember doing it, and I think I just chinked him as I went flying past, and I was like, God damn it. Just stay on him like a nasty rash. That was all I was trying to do. Yeah.
Kind of kept him in with the house robots as well.
Yeah, it was never a plan to get him into the house, but it's just a case of just trying to keep on him, and I mean, obviously he got pushed that way, and then just get some good solid hits on him, which I managed to do. The one that went through the aluminium lid gave me particular pleasure.
Me too. Ended up in the pit, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, that was on his own doing, though. I mean, obviously, we danced our way over to that direction, but he did go in it on his own, under his own steam. Yeah, and I don't think he ever quite recovered mechanically. Recovered from that. I think it did quite a lot of damage internally to the bearings on that rotating ring around the machine. Yeah.
I mean, it had some damage after the first fight, didn't they? So.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Great to hear from him.
That was awesome. It's great to hear from the Roboteer's point of view about a fight.
And he executed his game plan perfectly. He was just all over him.
I love the fact that he was furious with them as well.
He was furious with them, so he's going to be over them like a rash.
Exactly.
And he pummeled them, and he didn't stop pummeling them. He pummeled their bot hard, and they deserved it. If they're going to slag him off in an interview, they're going to get it. And he put them in the pit for good measure.
Good.
Excellent fight.
I'm proud of him.
The second head-to-head, we haven't got Jason to tell us what's going on.
Okay.
It's Foxic and Shockwave.
Foxic and Shockwave.
A pusher.
This is two pushers pushing each other about. Foxic's not working properly again because last fight already destroyed it.
And Shockwave, we've spoken about, is a solid robot.
Solid robot, push all day.
Push all day.
And I think the winner is...
Well, let's not quite go that way because Foxic, and there was some nice shenanigans with the house robots.
At this point you had Foxic jammed under dead metal and then from behind Shockwave taking in Foxic from behind.
I thought we were
noticing his bot ready for the action and he thrusts straight in there as hard as he can, doesn't he?
It was beautiful.
An exposed bot, he goes for it.
I thought we were going to see dead metal in the pit.
I wanted to see dead metal get absolutely furious at this point.
Yes.
But he was remaining calm.
Now the house robots this year, I think they've been castrated.
They're not allowed. They're not allowed. In previous wars, they could come out and pretty much commit carnage. And do you know what? I think for the next series, they're going to have to be their reins loosened a bit because the public, the baying mob, they want that destruction. And
I think you've got to have fear of the CPZ.
Yeah. So it's to do with competition rules. And the BBC, that house robots can't be seen to sway at fights. That was one of the things they got into trouble with before.
But I think you're not. If you've been put in there by another robot, then
you've gone in
fair game for a house robot.
Yeah,
you should be able to be pummeled and just disc straight through you.
Definitely.
Maybe if the house robots were a bit less strong. Then they could just say, do what you like.
But remember, let's just say this early on with four-way head-to-heads, right? And Foxic at this point got ruined by a house robot.
Yeah. He's out for the rest of the head.
Yeah, so they've got no TV show, have they? What I'm saying is, if you were in a four-way head-to-head, I'm just thinking about from a producer, and I'm trying to think out the box. This is my own thoughts. But if you, house robot, was to go, ripped a wheel off someone, and they haven't got another wheel... Effectively, what you've done is you've removed them from the competition when they've still got 3 more fights to do. So you probably can't go crazy on them, can you? But to be honest, I Dead Metal and Matilda. And do you know what? The most dangerous house robot I've always maintained is Matilda with the disc on the back.
But you've been exposed to Matilda's disc before, haven't you? On the live circuit.
Oh no, that's not Matilda, is
Fake
it?
Matilda.
Fake Matilda. And that disc...
Matilda.
That disc is still... No.
That still did some damage to you, though.
It did, but that was on a featherweight robot. I'm talking about proper Matilda with an E-Tech running a 25-kilo disc up to... That's the same as carbide on the back of Matilda. It's basically got carbide fixed on the back of Matilda.
But not spun up fully, surely.
I mean, if they've got the ability to spin that...
Yeah, but they're not.
No, but it's a fair beast.
Okay. We are going to talk about the house robots one day.
We are going to. I want to do an inside the bot on the house robots, but we need to get extra special permission for that.
We do need extra special people to say yes.
Yeah.
So, Shockwave was just always on Foxic for the whole of that fight.
Yeah.
And ended up putting him in the pit.
Yeah, and well-deserved win.
Definitely. So Shockwave and Thor doing well at this point. On to the third head-to-head, and they meet. And Thor's looking strong. Shockwave's got this funny little bit of piping on his...
I'm not sure what his thought was. He's changed it over to this piece of...
plastic.
Which
held on
to be...
with... Oh, we'll hear from Jason about this, actually.
Okay, Jason. Yeah, tell us about this fight, Jason.
So head-to-head 3, though. You and Shockwave.
Yep.
And your hammer seemed to be a bit better in this fight to me.
It was very cold. It's in Scotland, and it was still winter, and the hangar was particularly cold. But after that fight, we took, and I'd say we, I mean, all of the competitors that were running CO2 took the bottles up into the green room where it was warm, and just left them in the green room to come up to a better temperature than down in the hangar. Because in the hangar, it was somewhere like about 7 or 8 degrees, maybe a bit less. The green room, we were up about 17, 18 degrees. So after that initial fight, we did that, so that we got a much better gas flow, and the gas was boiling off quicker from the liquid CO2, so everything worked much nicer and a bit more crisp. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I'd say there was some great pushing from you. I mean, those motors, you're a genius, quite frankly. You were pushing everyone around.
Yeah, like I say, I like a good, robust, powerful drive. Like I said, I think if you can boss people around in the arena and shove them around, no matter what your weaponry is on the machine, you can bring it into play at your leisure. Then, so and with Thor, it's quite nice to get them to the edge of the arena and pin them there for the requisite 10 seconds and just beat the living daylights out of them. Yeah. That's always quite nice. A few people have been on the receiving end of that little trick over the years. Yeah. Most memorable one was Stan, a robot in Ireland, but that came out with not a single thing left on it any good. So yeah, against Shockwave, nice to see chunks of it flying off.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing with that weird. Why has he got that tubing on it rather than his normal?
I think Will and Ian's theory was to because it's HDPE. I think it was HDPE or polypropylene. It would flex and just absorb the energy from the hammer blow.
Didn't really work, did it?
No, because then when I was talking to Ian after the fight, he told me he bought the bolts to hold it on from Wilkinson's, and they were like 99p for 20, and they were made out of half-chewed Mars bar and they were rubbish. Yeah, they were very soft metal. So when you looked at it, all the bolts had just snapped off.
So. It just seemed like Shockwave was hanging on for the rest of that fight, really.
Yes, it was. Putting that scoop on was his error. If, like he did for later on, put on the metal scoop and got under me and lift me up, then it renders me completely useless. So he should have gone with that in the first place, I think. Yeah.
Definitely earned that one on the judge's decision there.
Yeah. I think I bossed it quite well. When it came out, he'd lost two of his wheels were smashed to pieces. 2 drive chains were off. Obviously, the scoop was smashed to pieces, and I hadn't got a scratch on me. So I think it was a foregone conclusion. So, yeah.
So Shockwave just got this ridiculous pipe on it.
I don't know why they did that.
Fitted with 99p nuts and bolts.
They took their hard-on scoop off and put that on. But we'll not know their thinking. We'll have to find out from them why they did that or what their thought was.
Shockwave did manage to hold on and go to the judge's decision, though, which was good for them. But Thor got 2 points.
Excellent.
Head-to-head 4 was Foxic and Mr. Speedy McSquared. Now, this was a fight that we're just not going to talk about.
Do you know it wasn't a fight, was it?
No.
There was no fighting here. My fight was once called Handbags at Dawn, which we spoke about earlier. This fight was so weak that nothing happened.
It was the limpest of handshakes of fights.
Exactly. It was terrible. In fact, just leave it there. Who won that one?
Professor Noel Sharkey.
With his amazing comment.
Yeah, what did he say?
He said it's the worst fight I think he's ever seen.
And
you know what? I'm taking that as gospel.
Okay.
We don't. Professor Noel Sharkey, you don't mess with him. He decides things, and you go, yes, Professor Noel Sharkey.
Somehow they figured out that Mr. Speed Squared won that.
Well, he opened the pit.
Such aggression.
At least he did something.
Yeah.
The other one, drove into a sort of not. He just messed about with dead metal again.
The fifth head-to-head was Foxick against Thor.
Yeah.
And Foxick had his... Well, Jason can tell us what Foxick was up to.
Jason?
Yeah, I thought his drive was... It wasn't right, but it was much improved on the previous fights. He was definitely getting around a lot better than he was. And resolved a couple of the issues. Craig had resolved a couple of the issues. I wasn't... His idea was to have the front blade up, and rightly so. If I had brought the axe down on that, because it was sharp, very sharp.
Yeah,
it would have done a lot of damage to the aluminium axe arm. So I wasn't about to bring it down onto that and cleave off my own hammerhead.
That would be embarrassing.
No, that would be wouldn't be good. So I was trying to get around the back of him, and he would not allow that. So he ended up getting shoved onto the flame pit, which I really liked.
You did get a hammer blow.
I got a couple on him, yeah.
It was patient driving.
Yeah. The downside to that, it doesn't make great TV because it's tactics, and you're trying to get there, and I don't want to damage my own machine. I don't want to waste my gas. So it's just being a bit patient.
But I don't think kind of like that kind of technical fight. It's probably not great for just a casual viewer, but if you watch a lot of these things, then you probably appreciate what's going on a lot more.
Yeah, that's true. And
it was kind of like a technical kind of, you can't do that until you're in the right position to bring down the hammer.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good fight, actually. But Fox, again, as you say, ended up immobilised on the
flames.
On the flame pit.
Which was great, because when he... which still makes me chuckle, because when it came out, it actually got griddle marks where the wheels had melted. It looked like it'd been on a barbecue. It was funny.
It was nice of Matilda to help him off, though.
Yeah. Wow. Can't leave him on there for too long, I guess.
No.
So Foxick thought, I'm going to have... Jason's going to hit me on my wedge.
Yeah.
And Jason's not an idiot.
No, so he's not going to do that.
He just had to be very patient, and eventually Foxick got immobilised on the pit.
Yeah, and he did it, and it was good.
Matilda got stuck in afterwards.
Exactly.
Loved it.
And do you know what? When she does that flip, and now all her head moves as well. It's beautiful, because it's when she comes alive like an animal. Bang! And the tusks are there, and she gets furious. I love it.
Head-to-head 6 was Mr. Speed Squared and Shockwave.
Did Shockwave have his metal scoop back on at this point, or did he have that plastic one still?
So head-to-head 6 was Mr. Speed Squared and Shockwave. Shockwave, I think, had given up on his crappy little bit of piping at this point, I think.
Yeah, and gone back to the metal shovel.
Oh no, had he?
No, he hadn't.
He put it back on.
He put his piping on. I knew it. So he's put his piping on because he thinks Mr. Speed Squared.
Oh yeah, the piping worked so well last time. Let's keep it on.
Let's keep that piping.
This is a massive spinner. He's shown some real clout, this spinner.
What I'd love to know, actually, this is the thing about the piping. Why is it in 3 pieces?
It came in 3 pieces.
No, it comes in massive chunks. So why not have it as
but
one?
Didn't they find it outside the house? Well, wasn't this literally an outside the house
No,
find?
literally. You do not go and find that piping. You have to scrump it.
Well,
we know what that's called.
But if it's offcuts, then it would come in 3 pits.
Yeah, but it comes in like 10-metre length. Anyway, do you know what?
Why not go with the Hardox wedge you've got that will actually take a blow?
Exactly.
And then
I'm not sure why.
Bit of pipe
I don't understand.
Put on with bolts and nuts from Wilkinson's.
And it looks ugly.
It looks ugly. And the little bit that said Shockwave came off it. I mean, what? I know. So you're very tired when you're at a Robot Wars event. And that sometimes affects your judgment.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Can do.
They must have been very tired.
He cut his finger as well, didn't he?
He was very tired.
He was tired. He made some mistakes.
Tired and sore. And...
Sore?
Yeah, his fingers.
Oh, I was going to say. I wonder what he's been up to.
Tired and sore, and, he just... An error in judgment, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
But it didn't really matter in this fight.
He flipped him around.
He could push him about. He put him on his side on a wall. Magic smoke came out.
Magic smoke came out, but that didn't stop the. I'm not sure what actually burnt out there because the spinner started spinning again at one point, didn't it?
Did it?
Or it may have been pushed round, but it was spinning. It was spinning at one point, but not very fast. And do you know what? After that first fight, Mr. Speed Squared never got his spinner going properly.
No, poor fella. But a new robot, so maybe
come back.
Teething problems.
They
can test it. They'll come back in a year, and they'll be boom. Magical.
So he knocked him in. There was some.
There was some pit-based banter.
Pit-based banter, and I thought, Shockwave, no! He put the brakes on, and then he went back, and then he angled round, and he went, and he got him in.
It was craziness,
and it was like he was backed up, and
you've described that so concisely and clearly. I think even if you hadn't watched it, so you'd know what happens.
You know perfect. That was it. Yeah.
So Mr. Speed Squared ended up in the pit after it looked like both of them were going to go in.
Then just Mr. Speed Squared went in.
The heat final.
Yep.
Was therefore Thor and Shockwave, because Shockwave was mullered Mr. Speed Squared, and Thor was mullering everyone.
So at Robot Wars, when we were there.
Oh yeah, when you were there.
When we were there, Jason was quite rightly super proud of himself.
Yeah.
You know, he was super proud of himself, and he's not a person that he's not arrogant or braggy. No. He was sat there with a big smile on his face, just loving that he had won all his fights, and he was just like super pumped.
I mean, you've put so much effort into that robot.
And fully deserved. He spent so many years doing it on his own and getting it sorted out.
Yeah, just him as well. So it's not like...
And I'm not sure who lifts the robots up with him, to be honest. I don't know how he gets them out of his car at the other end.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus helps him. Or he might. Maybe you can summon Jesus to lift a robot. But
I think we're overdoing Jason there.
But he was so pumped, and I did feel it was there was some badness here, wasn't there, at this final? Because he'd already mullered Shockwave before. There was a little bit of pushing around.
Shall we hear it from Jesus himself? I mean, Jason himself.
Jason!
So on to the heat final.
Oh, God.
Now, while you've been destroying everyone, Shockwave had quietly been gathering the points up.
Yeah.
And managed to be your rival at this point.
Yeah, it didn't...
You weren't looking well. Not you personally, but Thor.
I was very tired.
You probably weren't looking so well after the fight. But What was wrong with Thor?
So 3, 2, 1 activating, off we go. First impact, he goes, which surprised me a little bit, he goes straight under the front of Thor. Wasn't quite prepared for that. I thought I'd go under him, but anyway. And then I sort of fly off of him, and then he shoves me against the arena sidewall. And that is that. At that point, the Robotech decided to blow up. But
so that is
that's the speed controller for the drive system. So, and I knew it had done it because all of a sudden I'm coasting, and it's just rolling along, which it doesn't do when the speed controller and everything's working. It's obviously under braking when you're not accelerating. So I'm turning the controller on and off, thinking it may be an issue with the signal. Obviously, it wasn't, and you can tell like the axe was still firing because they are basically two independent systems inside the machine.
Yeah.
There was absolutely nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do, and to stand there on TV and watch somebody unceremoniously dump you into the pit of infinity it's not a very nice feeling, especially after doing all that hard work.
Oh, poor Jason.
Oh, do you know what? That happens. Your ESC goes, nothing you can do about it, and that's just Robot Wars. That's what happens. Even the best robots can fall foul to overdoing it.
Yeah.
Or too much shenanigans.
And I think it's fair to say he was the best in this heat.
I would definitely say he's the best in this heat.
But Shockwave goes through.
Shockwave goes through.
You can't take anything away from Shockwave.
No.
On the day.
No, they did it. They fought.
They won the heat
and
fight.
They won the heat fight. So golden. I'm really happy for them.
we'll see him in the final.
We'll see him in... Well, yeah, definitely.
Which leaves us with Jason. I mean, he was a bit sad after talking about that. But I did hear a bit more from him.
Okay, so let's listen.
About his future plans.
Oh.
You know, what he's up to now.
Okay. So, Jason, come and tell us about what you're going to get up to. I suppose that's inside his shop.
Have you got any plans to come back and do Robot Wars again?
Absolutely. I love the sport. I haven't stopped. There was a brief spell where I didn't do it for a little while. Other than that, I haven't stopped with robots. So it's in my blood, and I love it to bits. So, I shall. Or I already have started Thor Mark 9. So
it's relentless.
It's a conveyor belt. Yeah, it's another incarnation of Thor. Again, the one good thing about TV is you can see some of the flaws in the design when you're fighting other people. I'd already established just after the first fight, the 4-way melee, there was a couple of flaws with the design things that I didn't like. So yeah, try and eliminate those. I also had trouble with hammer arms bending when I tested it at home. I made a new one, had it all machined up, and bent it after 3 fires.
That's not great.
No, I was like, crap. So that was £100 out the window. So then I went to a solid piece of aluminium, as you probably noticed on the TV, and if you look carefully, you'll see it bending. I think after it's after the Mr. Speed Squared fight, you'll see it's actually got a slight bend in it, and then what I do is I turn it round, take it off, turn it around, and then bend it back the other way. So there's another issue I've got to sort out. Might have to upgrade the material on that. So I might thicken up the dimensions on it a bit as well. I might have it. It's made out of a rectangular bar, which is in old money, I think it's 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches.
Sturdy thing.
Yeah. So, but I'm thinking of maybe making it out of a round bar and then milling off the sides, so it's like got flat cheeks down each side, but it's still got the round radius on the top and the bottom to give it a bit extra strength.
Yeah. Do you look a lot at what other people are doing and draw on that?
Yes, absolutely. There's definitely elements of terahertz in Thor, and John. Yeah. I've spoken to John at length about different ideas and different materials. We always talk and roll a couple of ideas around, I suppose. And he's been very helpful over the years, and I have a lot of respect for the guy.
Yeah, I think everyone does. He's just...
his nickname actually is the Oracle. So yeah, you look at how different shapes. The shape of the machine is really important, and you see how the different shapes perform. Different front ends. Front ends are very important. So yeah, I'm always looking and watching how things are going, and there's trends in Robot Wars like anything else. And at the minute it's Harvox is the thing in it. So yeah,
seems to be doing the job.
It's a great material. It really is. It's a git to try and drill through.
I've heard,
yeah. And the reason I bought a plasma cutter is so I can work with it a lot easier. And that seems to go through quite nicely. But it's a wonderful material. The fact that it's easy to weld and it's so robust. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming and talking to us.
Not a problem. It's a pleasure.
Again. Do you have any sponsors or people who've helped you out you want to thank?
No, I'm looking for sponsors. Anybody out there wants to give me some money to build a machine? Just give me. No,
shameless. Yeah. Anybody at all.
Anybody, I don't care.
If you've got a red product, Thor would be great.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there are companies out there called Thor. There's actually the hammer manufacturer that makes hammers called Thor. So,
have you been on to them?
Do you know what? Cool. Years and years ago, I did actually ring them up, and they very politely said no.
Well, yeah. I think you've got more clout now.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But no sponsors at the minute.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, mate.
Well, I think we all look forward to seeing what you come up with next. Cheers, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Ta-da, buddy.
So he's already on to the next Thor.
He is a demon, isn't he? He's gone crazy. He's got straight back and he's building and building and building straight away.
I mean, he is a builder. He's a robot builder and he is a builder.
So he builds...
If he's not building,
He's building.
He's sitting down and doing nothing. So he has to be in a constant state of building.
He has to always be building a new thing.
His work is his life. He is his work.
And it does sound like he's got, some other projects on the go, which is exciting. We'll have to catch up with him later on.
He did mention a spinner at one point.
We'll have to catch up with him, see what he's up to.
Maybe he's seen the power of carbide.
Everyone gets enamoured by the carbide.
I mean, carbide was so enamoured by carbide that they built cobalt.
Indeed. So, what's next?
What do we do next normally? I think we do some questions.
Oh, questions. Have we got any questions?
We've got some questions. Now, you can email us at
insidethebot@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook.
And you can find us on Twitter.
So, Inside the Bot in both cases.
Everywhere.
What would be really cool, if you are enjoying the podcast, and I know that from comments a lot of you are, if you could like and share some of our things, that would be great. I know you have been, but more would be cool.
If you haven't been enjoying our podcast,
then
you should be slaying it everywhere.
Yeah,
just go up to people and be like, have you heard this
terrible podcast? And I'm furious that what they whisper on about.
I'd rather eat goat's cheese than listen to this rubbish.
Goat's cheese salad.
Exactly.
So if you can, that would be great. But message us. Let's find some comments. Let's
go for it. So we had a question.
Oh, this is a good one
from a Kevin. And Kevin says,
Kevin. Or Kevin.
I don't want to say his full name.
Okay. No, we won't give it. A Kevin.
A Kevin. Now, Kevin said, "Hello, Will and Gabe. Why are the audience members in Robot Wars so enthusiastic about the pit in Robot Wars? Shouldn't they want to see robot on robot carnage and not just robots falling or driving themselves into holes? I've never understand this about the Robot Wars show." Now,
could you just do that last bit as well? That he said.
All right, love your podcast, by the way. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work, buddy.
Well done, buddy.
Yeah.
He's just slapped me.
Nice one.
So, Kevin, why are they obsessed with the pit? So, I'm going to guess that Kevin is American, do you think?
An interesting thought. He might be.
So, why are they so enthusiastic about the pit? So, first of all, those big foam hands, I believe, have got pit written on them.
They have.
So, if you're wearing a massive foam hand that says pit, that you can point with.
Do they also say 3, 2, 1 activate on them?
They do. But if you're going to go... And then what we have is the audience warm-up man gets people to go, pit, 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 pit.
You are constantly bombarded with pit chants if you're there. And we love a chant.
What you say, the English type.
The English, if you've ever been to pantomime, he's behind you, it's all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the audience participation, we love it. And also Punch and Judy, you're getting in there, aren't you?
Oh, you're all shouting it. So it's about
shouting at the show.
So it's an English mentality of the horde shouting.
Yeah.
It is, you're right. And so we do love to see bot on bot action.
We do. And
we do love to see a bot ripped open. But we also like them to be pushed into holes.
We do.
So now it's to do with the English mentality of loving a chant, having a big foam hand that says pit on, warm up guy going pit, pit,
yeah,
pit.
you just always bombarded with it.
We all want. I'll tell you what we all want is in other shows where the robots fight and then one's broken and left. Okay, that's left, and it just goes on. People go, "Oh, it's there," and it might be on fire. But in England, you can. Oh, sorry, not in England. Sorry, to my Scottish cousins. I apologise. In Britain or Scotland, we're going to go. We're not just going to leave it there, looking limp.
Whoa.
We're going to pop it in a hole, pot it in, ram it in
at the funeral,
and then bagpipes on the side.
But also, so you can dispose of a destroyed robot.
It's like putting it in a grave.
But you can also, if you're a bit of a damaged robot,
burn it.
No. If you're the underdog in this fight, you're a damaged robot. And the Brits love an underdog. We are the underdog nation.
The pit allows us to fight back as an underdog and still win the day.
If maybe you kind of teeter on the edge of the pit, you think you got the driving, but you haven't quite got the weapon. You hang around on the edge. Someone comes to you. You move out of the way at last second. It's like a bullfight.
It is, so it adds extra bonus in all areas.
There is a lot of scope for pit-based shenanigans.
Yeah, I think we've answered Kevin's
Mr.
question,
Kevin.
Mr. Kevin.
He has just
in an exceptional way.
I think we have. I mean, a great question because
amazing question.
And a lot of people think it's cheap, but no, it's just part of Robot Wars tradition, and it's.
Well, I don't think it's cheap because I think it's pretty costly. It's got a lot of hydraulics and all sorts of things.
Saved on the smoke this season, though.
Oh yeah, but that's smoke that popped out. Exactly. Put the smoke back.
Exactly.
So there's a question. So we'll do more questions next week, but please
send us. We're going to do another question.
No, we're not. There's too many questions.
Not a question, but a comment.
Go on then.
We had an email from a famous Dave. Dave from Team Nuts.
Oh, exciting!
And
Dave.
he really enjoyed listening to me and Will Bales talk about nuts. I think he's just happy that it wasn't you on the show.
No, well, actually, I would disagree with that. Dave, I think Dave has appeared on. I think he's a Ninja Warrior.
What?
You know the program Ninja Warriors?
He's on Ninja Warriors.
I think he is.
Oh, okay.
It might be a different Dave, but I don't think it is. He's a powerful person, very strong.
Okay.
Anyway,
well,
tell us what he wants
to say to us.
Go on then.
That Mouldy, David Moulds.
Don't be knocking him.
David Moulds of Team Carbide.
Yeah.
Even though TV very much heavily suggested that he had helped to fix Team Nuts.
Yeah.
Which was the impression I got as the casual viewer.
Yeah.
He didn't help him at all.
He must have held the frame at one point because he was holding it, wasn't he?
I think he probably snatched it off them. He was like, I've destroyed this, I get to keep it.
Let me I think that's what it was.
That's what he said, he wanted a trophy.
TV Land
and then TV walked in and he was like, yeah, the frame.
So what? So if Mouldy didn't fix
Mouldy didn't help them.
Who did then?
So Craig from Foxic.
Master Danby.
And you see in some of the shots he's got a bit of fluid on his chest.
So,
and that's
has someone leaked fluid on him?
He's got some nut fluid on his chest.
Has he?
Yeah.
Well, all right. So he got too excited with the nuts team, and they leaked fluid on him.
They've leaked fluid all over him.
And what's that fluid?
Hydraulics.
It's not. It's motor grease.
Oh yes.
So
haven't got any hydraulics in there.
Exactly. So essentially, what you're saying here is, Foxic helped Nuts fix their robot.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And that's why it broke again.
So that's why it broke again, and that's why Foxic didn't work, because he's too busy fixing other people's robots.
Oh, what's he playing at?
Oh well. Well, again, thank you.
Thanks for the insight.
Definitely, thank you, sir.
Dave.
That's great.
Because we didn't have you on hand then to tell us what was what.
No.
It was just me and Bales just wildly speculating about what was going on.
I like that, though.
We didn't know. We didn't have a clue.
That's right.
We weren't there.
Makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose it does. And those are our questions and comments.
Brilliant.
Question and comment.
So, send some more in. We've already told you the email address.
Yeah. InsideTheBot@gmail.com.
That's it.
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Follow us, like us, share, subscribe. All that good jazz.
Exactly.
We're on iTunes.
Yep.
And I'm going to put us on YouTube at some point.
Nice. And we'd love to have a sponsor.
We don't have one.
Wranglebox.com. They're not got much money, so he's going to do it.
No, he's never going to do it.
But there you go. He's the person.
He might come on the show though.
NPC.
Mr. Wranglebox himself is going to come on the show.
He's coming on the show. He's coming on the Fish show actually. Then we've got NPC Robotics, awesome company.
Are you sponsored by them?
No, not really.
Well, can you stop saying their name?
But
if they're not giving us money and parts, and
stickers. They gave us parts.
I haven't seen any money, parts, or stickers.
Yeah, but that's because you get too excited by them. NPC Robotics.
T-shirts. I like a T-shirt. If you want to send one in.
Stop getting free stuff. Right. Anyway, we're going to finish this inside the box. It's rambled on wrong enough.
It's rambled on. It's awful. I don't know what we're going to do about this.
We're going to catch you. You're going to hear from us again on Saturday. When we do another show.
I don't know how we do it.
It's wearing us out.
It's wearing me out.
We're going to do the
You
battle.
don't do anything. You just went off on holiday. Come on in at the end like, hey, NBC Robotics.
So
it's ridiculous. You don't do anything for this show.
I provide the skills and talent and get the guests.
You do none of the work. None.
Shut up. This is communism. This is how it starts. We don't work in that sort of area. So thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for Gabe and Jason Marston. Big thanks to Jason because he actually contributed something to this show.
I'm Gabe.
I know you are.
Do your thing.
And I've been Will Sedgwick.
And this is Inside the Bar.
You don't get to do that bit.
I do that time.
I'm doing it again.
No, you're fucking not. Oh, I swore.
I've been Will Sedgwick.
I'm Gabe.
And this has been Inside the Bar. Why are you laughing?
Because you're a plot.